Let's talk about charts. Now, like Excel, it is easy to add charts to Crystal Report. And like Excel, there are a lot of different chart options. Depending on what the chart is, the data that's put into it, the colors, you can emphasize certain components of data or de-emphasize certain components of data. Now, keep in mind, not all data fits all charts. For example, any field that is date-driven doesn't work well with a pie chart, but it would work well with a line chart. Any data that is quantity-driven would do well with pie charts, column charts, histogram charts. Now we're going to open a file here. Now the file is called Glove Helmet Sales. Now we'll just wait till this opens up, and we're going to step up here, and we're going to find our charts. Now I do have to reconnect it to the data source. Now that's very odd that it doesn't. There we go. It doesn't seem to be connected. That's the one we want right there. And we say next, and we're going to finish that up. So we can connect to live data now. Now take note of what's already here. Looks like some groupings in here. Notice it is groupings, and they're summing, and they're summing. Now let's go to the design. Where do you want to put this chart? Right? Well, we're going to go in here, and we're going to put it in the report header section. If you don't see the report header, you can always right-click and turn it on, but there it is. We're going to pull that down just a little bit because this is where it's going to go. Now we're going to use our chart option right here to insert a chart. And we're going to just click where we want it placed, and there it is. Now, it's not actually reflecting real data until we link the data to it. So we're going to right-click and go into the Chart Expert. We're going to do a simple bar chart, right? A simple side-by-side bar chart, nothing fancy. Now, the data. Where's the data going to come from? Well, on change of what and show. And we have layouts, advanced grouping. Now we don't have a crosstab right now, but we have our choices here. Now we're going to start this out with a simple one. So country and a summary. That makes sense, right? And let's say OK. Now let's preview that. Those are the countries, and these are the sum of the helmets by country. Makes sense. Let's go back to design. Now back in design, back to our Chart Expert. Right? And this is what we did, the data. Now across the top, do you want data access, grid lines, major and minor? Do you want data values? Do you want divisions? Under options, colors, we're going to turn on labels so we can see labels. And we can turn on values. And let's say OK. We can see in here, and let's preview that. And we see sum of helmets. So that's the label with the value. Let's go back out. Let's change that again. And back to our data and our options, where you don't want to see the label, we just want to see the value. And preview, and we just see the value. Right? Now we can change a lot of different options here. So back at the Chart Expert, We're going to go to our Options tab. We've turned on the Show Value. We could choose different formats here. Right? Under Custom Settings, the size of the markers. Right? The size of the markers. Right now they're medium. We could change the size. Let's do medium large. And the shape, let's do a triangle. And let's say OK. And let's preview. You don't see any difference. Some of them won't actually work. Go back to the Chart Expert. Back to our options. Now the bar size, let's do average. The bar size. Notice how they got thinner. They're much thinner now. Right? Now, back again to our Chart Expert. Show Legend. Where do you want it? Auto arrange all of these. Now, highlights. We can change some options. Let's do a new option in here. So right now, Austria is going to show as black. Let's make Austria purple. Right? And let's do another new one. And this time, when it equals England, we'll make England green. And a new one. When we have Sweden, let's make Sweden lime. And another new one. Switzerland, we'll make Switzerland fuchsia. And let's preview. And there we go. Now, back again. And this, notice, says sum of helmets at countries. That is an object, right? That's the title. And notice we can change the color. Here's the text. We can change the text. And we're going to say OK. And let's preview. Now that did not seem to kick in. Now, let's just say OK. It's not going to change it. Let's go to the Chart Expert. And let's change it this route. We say OK. And now it's changed. Now we have one chart in here. Can we add another chart? Well, let's go across the toolbar and insert a chart, place it, and we can size it. Now it says sum of helmets by country. Well, that's not what we want. So let's go to our Chart Expert, go to the data, and country, but let's do gloves this time. And change the text. And let's go to our options, and we'll show the values. We'll say OK. And let's size these similarly. And let's preview. And there we are. Now they're not exactly aligned the same, but we can see them. Really very simple. And that's the end of this first activity.